The Matrix Resurrections. The discussion part 2, Mr. Black.
Yeah, there's going to be spoilers too, guys.
This is just, that's why we saved this for last. We're right now,
matter.
verbal. Spoiler alert. There will be spoilers.
And I'm
as
gonna
we
chill.
discuss this.
I'm going to be chill. I'm not even going to yell. How bad was it for you? Like, was it as bad as it was for me? Or were you on the side of, it was bad. I didn't hate it as much as Jeff, but it was pretty fucking bad. Because I can't see you liking this.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Nah.
How I viewed this was, the way that it felt to me after watching it, like the takeaway for me was that this was Lana Wachowski firebombing her own intellectual property to ensure that two things happen. One, she was unlikely to ever have to make another Matrix again, and two, nobody else would ever make another Matrix again because they would have made this movie so fucking bad on such a huge budget that they'd never be able to recoup the money, and the studio would likely never want to take the risk of dipping back in, especially since the characters are the age in which they are. There was an interview where Lana talked about, and I do sympathize, a lot of loss for Lana in the last few years. And she mentioned that going back to write The Matrix Resurrections was like a comfort zone, where here are these two characters, Trinity and Neo, that were like family, or et cetera, et cetera. But on one hand, it felt like I can see why that would be the case. But when you watch the film, it doesn't feel like that was the driving force of the writing behind it. The driving force behind it felt more like, I didn't really want to do this, but I also didn't want to trust anyone else to do it when Warner Bros. Came to us. And so, fuck it. Here we go.
Yeah.
You're not joking. They do spend an enormous amount of time in the beginning of the film. There's an entire montage where they are fourth wall breaking nonstop in reference to making the Matrix movies, except within the Resurrections, it's game, like the
video games.
Neo as a character, Thomas Anderson became a video game developer that was like legendary for making
The Matrix,
and The Matrix 2 and The Matrix 3, and now he's working on The Matrix 4, right? And all this pressure.
But it's a cash grab.
It's a cash grab.
Warner Brothers, the devil, and all this other stuff. It's like,
they have the boardroom talk where like it's a bunch of people like, what, and the boardroom people are talking about all the like weird, shitty internet points about what is the Matrix and isn't an allegory for this and what does it really mean this and what do we really need, and like at one point the guy's like, the Matrix is when you see this.
Yeah.
Just like the fucking dodging the bullets and shit.
Bullet time. They literally call it
bullet time. Like they just completely dive in on fourth wall breaking to talk about at length the whole situation of Warner Brothers saying, we want another Matrix. Either you can do it or we're going to find somebody else to do it. And as soon as that happened, man, was it hard to take anything else the movie could possibly have presented seriously.
Yeah.
And they didn't stop there. You think that like, oh, we got it all out of our system. All the fourth wall shit's done. We can get past it. But no, they kept dropping the shit in. All of a sudden, at some point, the Lost Boys from Hook showed up.
Man, that shit was so weird, man. The French guy,
shows up and he's like, he's doing his French, shtick and also breaking the fourth fucking wall. Like the whole time he's on screen and he never shuts up in the background while like other like conversations are happening. And,
dude, that scene was a mess, bro. That was a fucking mess.
The action was fucking terrible.
So bad,
the dialogue was terrible. I will say that you said that you liked, what was her name? Blue-haired Bugs.
But then she just disappears, man. She's in the movie and then she's gone. Do you remember what the last scene was with her? Like, do you remember what happened to her character?
No.
She was in the movie, like a big part of it, and then she was just gone. Like,
well, she's literally called Bugs, has the white rabbit.
White rabbit, I know.
Says out loud the name's Bugs, as in the bunny. And I was like, fucking, everything. Okay, if Don't Look Up is labeled like blunt like a hammer, meaning nothing, there's no subtlety at all. The Matrix 4 is even less subtle. Everything in this movie is attacked with a sledgehammer. There is no surgical anything in the writing or presentation of the entire film. And it was so tiring to go through it because nothing fucking mattered at that point. Nothing had any weight, nothing had any gravity, even the nostalgia plays. And probably one of the other things that just blew my mind was when you're watching it, there's like it's like there seems to be such vindictive bitterness from Lana, where she does this thing where she doesn't respect the audience enough to be able to fucking know the characters that she's putting on screen are representative of other characters from the previous movies. Mostly because she couldn't convince them, or the studio couldn't convince these characters to reprise their roles and come back, and I don't fucking blame them. But she does the thing where she does a flashback to the original movies, the Matrix.
It does a thing like, all the time.
And like a character shows up and says something, and then even though it's so blatantly fucking obvious, we do a flashback to that original film. I'm not convinced that $50 million of the budget of this film wasn't just paying licensing fees internally to be able to fucking pull back up the cost of showing clips from the original film with characters that weren't in the film. And
can't have Hugo Weaving in the movie? No problem. We'll show flashbacks.
Flashbacks. So
just
like
pretend it's him.
And what's really, really unfortunate is that a lot of the clips that they decided to show, everything about the cinematography and delivery of those clips are 4 to 5 times better than anything that's in this movie. So they self-own like several times where they'll do these flashbacks, especially like the fight in the subway between Neo and Agent Smith. Which is one of the most iconic fucking scenes in all of the Matrix, and was shot and done so well originally. And then they do this like really fucking Walmart dollar store version of that fight.
It's bad.
And they do the flashbacks at the worst times because all of the choreography is so sloppy. It's so I'm not going to say that it's slow because The Matrix was never fast choreography to begin with, but there was a little bit of methodology to the fights that were still entertaining to watch with how they were shot. And in this film, it was just there's nothing to get to be interesting about or interested in.
There's no flavor, man. It's just no fucking garbage. Man. It's just so bad.
Ass. And so it was, man, I don't fucking know. There's almost no redeemable qualities. There's a lot of this movie that looks like, no joke, there's B-roll in this film that looks like it was shot on an iPhone.
Yes.
Dude. There's actual B-roll of like top-down, like bird's eye view and some scrolling on the rooftops and shit that look like, no joke, somebody took an iPhone and just panned. And they're like, just send me that file. And then like they put it in the fucking film.
Throw it in.
Like,
man. Jada Pickett Smith in this fucking movie is just like so
I'm gonna
bad.
put on my old woman voice.
I've been down here for like 60 years. It's like, oh my God, it's so bad. It's so painful. Holy shit, it's so fucking bad, dude. It's
and
bad.
and again, like, what I really I felt so bad watching this in the same way that I felt bad watching the send-offs for the Star Wars characters.
This was worse, man. This was worse.
This is worse, but I got the same feeling. But I just suspect that Keanu Reeves is probably going to donate probably some huge amount of this, like the money he makes in this film.
70% of it.
Yeah. So when somebody asks why in the shit did Keanu Reeves take this role, the answer is charity. Almost assuredly.
Probably not even that, man. It's probably he's
doing
just
like a favor to Lana.
He's probably just being a friend, and he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in fuck that he reads this script and he's like, man, this is some real good shit. This, after all these years, this is the perfect representation for the Matrix, and I'm just so fucking excited to do this movie. They couldn't even get Hugo Weaving to want to fucking go and film this shit.
Schedule conflicts my
Bullshit.
fucking ass. He read that and said, "What can we do to say no without publicly saying no?"
Oh, yeah,
like,
no.
well, let's sign you up for an indie film real quick.
Yeah.
Make sure that we don't have to worry about this.
Tell him you got COVID.
Yeah, like literally anything. Get me out of this film as fast as humanly possible. And you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that I'm sure Carrie-Anne Moss hasn't done a lot of movies paying a lot of money recently, she probably wouldn't have taken this role either. Every interview and in the movie,
she
so
looks uninterested.
She's so uninterested in every scene that she's in. It's a phoned in like experience from beginning to end for her character. And okay.
They don't smile, man.
They look
like they are
anything.
It's like there's a gun to their head just before they say action, and they're like, "Act it out now."
Yeah, got to do it now.
Act it out now.
Yeah,
and they're just like, "Okay."
And it really, you know what sucked? You know what surprised me is Carrie Ann's action scenes were the best action scenes in the film.
Yeah.
She still got it. And what pisses me off is we could have both, and we know Keanu still got it, we could have had significantly better choreography.
Bro, they made her into like another one. She can fly.
Well, they made her into new Neo, right? It's like, let's give balance to the Force, so we're going to give this to... And I didn't care about that. It's like kind of whatever. But it was funny to me that on one hand, we got Neo coming back in, and really all the action in this film for Neo does boil down to Force push. And for some reason, he uses his elbow to do it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he does like an elbow move a lot of the time, and it's just like a force push. But then when it comes, and then he does like a bunch of fighting, but when it comes down to it, you know, I did get a bit of a giggle that when they say, "Can't you just fly up out of this bitch? Like, take us out of here?" And he goes for it, and like the ground kind of warps a little bit. He tries, he goes, "No, that's not happening." It did get a little chuckle out of me, but more because like at that point, I expected it to just be a parody of itself, and it 100% parodied itself, and then so like it delivered. But then to watch Trinity become the next one, which makes sense in my mind, if only because we knew that by the end of the trilogy originally that the one is a concept that doesn't really exist, and that any one of them could have become the one at any given time, and it was just that Neo became the one in some, you know, natural progression, and now Trinity's doing the same, except on a much shorter, way less treacherous fucking path than...
I think you're being far too nice. I think Lana Wachowski had other motives, and I think...
well, what I'm saying is she torched it.
I'm just gonna go and just say it, man. Like, she
torched it. I'm saying my feeling of this is she fucking firebombed her own property, so that not only did she likely never have to do another Matrix film, but nobody else was going to ever be able to do it either, because they're not going to take the risk of making another Matrix. This movie's made $0.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
$0. It's terrible. It's easily one of the worst films I've seen in the last like 10 years.
Yes.
Easily.
Dude, there's nothing there's very little Matrixy things about the Matrix. There's no leather. There's the music. The music
the most Matrix thing about the Matrix Resurrections is that they ham-fisted as much blue and red into every fucking piece of every scene. Every item, every texture, every wallpaper, every glass, every pair of glasses, every eye color, everything is shades of red and blue. If you go and watch this film, I promise you, if you even pay mild attention, it will fuck you in the head just how many items they managed to color blue and red, as in the pills, blue and red, and then the follow-up to that is how many times they can do like the water on and on a object is the Matrix code falling type shit. Everything is ham-fisted. There is zero nuance at all. Like when I saw the trailers originally, and I saw Neil Patrick Harris's glasses were blue, and I was like, oh, we're doing a red pill, blue pill thing. A character's probably going to be having some sort of red that's going to like pull Neo out of this shit, etc., etc. And I would have been okay with that. Like, stop there. But everything is red and blue. Absolutely fucking everything. To the point where, like, it just became a fucking meme to watch. Rose like, oh look, another red blue thing, another red blue thing, another red blue thing, another red blue thing. It's bad.
The only thing that I feel like was a cool addition is how they upgraded tapping into the Matrix. So before they had to use like, you know, a payphone, you know, and now that you've got you can pretty much have somebody there, like, you know, it's all through like Wi-Fi and fucking through the cloud and shit.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
can see them in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a much more up to date. I thought that was well done.
Yeah.
I even didn't mind the whole Morpheus. You can kind of see like his, I don't even know what you'd call it, like his form.
Well, everyone's got a different, like they covered up who Neo was,
Yes.
and they covered up who Smith was to try and keep them separated.
Yeah, like I didn't mind that. Like, you know, when you saw his character and they look in the mirror and stuff, like he would see.
You got a flash of old man.
Yeah, like I didn't mind those things. I'm like, okay, but outside of that, man, just everything was bad. The action was bad. The action was very bad.
The action was really,
it was
really
so bad.
terrible.
And this is the Matrix. Like, how do you, like, if you're gonna get one thing right, you could have this dog shit movie, but you could have had at least 3 or 4 amazing action sequences that you're like, you know what, the movie sucked, but oh man,
At least they had the set piece.
they had these fucking action sequences that were just crazy, like just straight up Matrix. Nah,
and on a
none of
$200
it.
million budget, you would expect
Crazy.
at least one.
Yeah.
But instead, we got
none.
you know, we got nothing. Carrie Ann Moss, though, aging like fine wine. Her and Keanu Reeves aging
they
like
are.
fine wine.
But they didn't save the movie. It didn't
No.
save it at all. Even when the
Unfortunately.
movie opened, they opened up with rewatching the opening of the original Matrix with
Yes.
like, you know, a shittier version.
Yes.
It's just bad. Morpheus was an agent, and then like, you know, he gets.
Well,
he
they
gets into
wrapped up the 2 characters they couldn't get the actors for into a single fucking character.
That was it. It was so bad, dude. It was so bad. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. I'm sorry. It's bad.
Yeah, there's not really, and at the end of the movie, it's basically just like Carrie Fisher being Neo's like guard dog. It's like Neo's become completely fucking useless, and now Carrie Fisher is like the guard dog, and she's just kicking the shit out of Neil Patrick Harris for like 10 minutes, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for hooking us up. We're gonna go make the city our own now, bitch.
Yeah, and like
Peace!
Agent Smith helps them, and like I just like the whole thing's a fucking mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. I don't know how many, like that a guy who played Agent Smith, bless him, but he ain't it, man. That guy ain't it. That guy ain't it at all. This never needs to happen again. Ever.
Did they really have to have him attempt to do both Agent Smith and an impersonation of Morpheus? Like, was that necessary? We had impersonations from both of them.
It's bad.
Morpheus trying to do Morpheus, Agent Smith trying to do Agent Smith.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was like it was like an SNL skit, man. It was like watching somebody make fun of the Matrix with a budget, and it just wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. And I don't think anybody should watch this movie unless you don't want to hate yourself at the end of it. It's so fucking bad. It's a disgrace to the Matrix. They should never make another Matrix movie ever again. They should reboot the whole goddamn thing as a TV show. Make sure the Wachowskis is nowhere near this fucking property because they shit on it. They haven't. It's over for them.
Does anyone give them money for anything at this point?
No. Lana hasn't made a fucking good movie in like 15 years.
What was the last
Stop!
movie? What was the last movie that either of them made that was good?
Fucking, like Speed Racer or some shit. And even some people hate that shit. Lana Wachowski. Let me go and see here. Let's see. Let me see.
How do you spend $200 million on a Matrix sequel and turn out like 20 mil in like multiple opening weekends? How can you do that? Fan fiction would do a better job. Honest to God, 200 million. You know how I described this on Twitter?
No, you know
This
what?
is a $200 million budget movie that looked like a $20 million budget movie.
Yes. You know what? She actually hasn't made a good movie since the original Matrix trilogy. And let's be real here. After the first Matrix, the franchise went down some. It was still competent. It was still competent. I still enjoyed it.
Again, the action carried the previous, like the following
Exactly.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, she's a one-hit wonder. The Wachowskis are one-hit wonders. Cloud Atlas, dog shit. Jupiter Ascending, awful. I didn't really like Speed Racer. Some people do.
The Speed
I
Racer
don't like
at least was a visual, the audio visual thing. Like a lot of people, like I can get behind it being an audio visual experience.
No, it's bad. She's just not a good filmmaker. She's not a good writer. She's not a good filmmaker. She needs to hang it up. You made your money off The Matrix. Now fuck off into the sunset, please.
Made your money on it and then torched the property into the fucking earth. Scorched it.
I just can't, man. Okay, V for Vendetta.
There you go.
He did, okay. Screenplay by the Wachowski. Okay, there it is.
There you go.
V for Vendetta. That movie was good, okay? But guess who was in it? Hugo Weaving. Carrying the fuck out of that movie. All right? So, yes, V for Vendetta is the last fucking good movie that she was a writer in. I don't even know if she directed the movie. Did she direct it? Let me see here. No, she didn't even direct this movie. She did the screenplay. Who directed this? James McTaggy. Some shit.
All right.
I don't know. Anyway. Stop the madness.
Yeah, the James McTeague or McTagg.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, no, if you can look, and in all seriousness, regardless of who did this film, if you can do The Matrix Resurrections with at least having Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss in it, and you still take $200 million and not convert into a profitable film, you should probably stop making movies.
Yep.
Regardless of who did it. Like, if you can't take $200 million budget plus the 2 leading characters out of the 4 and convert to at least break even. $200 million for a Matrix film is piss in the wind.
Dude, that must have all
That's opening weekend.
Dude, that budget must have went into Keanu Reeves
and marketing
and Keanu Reeves and marketing. And the marketing wasn't even so hot, man. Now, let's be real here. They also released this movie on digital as well, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously the box office is going to take...
But that was only in domestic USA. You couldn't get it anywhere else.
That is right.
And it was only on HBO Max.
That is right.
So that's like a tiny fucking...
That is right. That might be like $30 million.
On a good day.
Yeah. You are right about that.
Considering it made, what, 12 mil in the opening week in the box office?
Oh, man. The movie's bad. The movie's bad. It made
Do we have
money.
Updated numbers as to where it is right now?
I'll take a look. The Matrix Resurrections box office. If it's past 80 million bucks, I'd be shocked. Oh, it is. It's at 106 million.
There you
worldwide.
go. Halfway there.
It's made 100 halfway. That's just the budget, bro.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know you're supposed to double it.
Add another 150 to 200 million in marketing.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
This is such a colossal failure that it's like.
That's why I'm saying it has to be an intentional fucking torching. Like all the fourth wall breaking, the calling Warner Brothers out. This is how you couldn't see this as intentionally burning the IP to the ground is beyond me. Let alone how you could watch it and enjoy yourself. Like,
how was this 2.5 hours, man? It was 2.5 hours of nothing.
That was so long, and then even with 2.5 hours, it ended the way it did.
I know.
It wrapped itself up in 5 minutes on a 2.5 hour movie.
It was like I was watching a movie and I was expecting the movie to keep going, and next thing you know, Trinity's flying around, and the trailer, Patrick Harris is getting beat up, and Neo's standing in the background. And then they both fuck off into the sunset, literally.
That's it.
And the movie's over. Yeah. What?
They had 2.5 hours and they still had the whole end in 5 minutes, like with zero substance, nothing. Or yeah, like I don't know how you don't see it as an intentional torching of the fucking intellectual property now. Obviously, Lana didn't want to ever have to do another Matrix again. Obviously, she didn't even want
do one.
And she didn't want anyone else.
There is a 0% chance she will ever do another Matrix film ever again. Ever. There's no way.
Man.
There's no way they can even greenlight this shit. This movie's gonna lose hundreds of
How
millions.
red
of dollars.
hot is Keanu Reeves right now?
He is basically.
Is it like Dwayne The Rock
Satan's
Johnson
asshole.
and then Keanu Reeves? Is that
I
where we
wouldn't
are?
I wouldn't put him that high, but
We gotta be close.
you know what? He's loved as much as The Rock. I mean, The
Yes.
Rock is a much bigger movie star
Draw,
than Keanu
yeah.
Reeves. But like, when you get Keanu and you get The Matrix, and
Man.
you can't even fucking break even.
On the back of John Wick's success.
I mean,
Bruh. You
I
got
don't know.
Keanu Reeves as John Wick, and your solution in the film is
That's it, man. That's what Neo has become.
jazz hands? It's Matrix jazz hands? That's your solution?
That's what Neo has become. Sad
oh
times.
my Lord, have mercy on my soul.
Sad times. I mean, dude, look at the poster of the Matrix. What is he doing in the poster? That's what he's doing in the poster. Dude, man.
It wasn't false advertising, I guess. You know, they accurate on the poster.
Like, I remember when I got all the Matrix stuff and I had the box set, and I still have it.
Yeah.
And I would watch all the hours and hours of behind the scenes shit, and like
yeah.
everybody was having fun, and it was inventive, and it was like just you were in awe with how they made these movies, and everybody was just beaming with excitement. And this is just
Depressing.
like depression.
Yeah.
Like Bugs is like, and maybe the guy that played Morpheus are like the two people in the movie that seem like they were going, holy shit.
Because
I'm
they're
in
super
a Matrix
fans.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm in a fucking Matrix movie. This
Yeah.
is wow.
They made the best out of their situation.
Everybody else hated their lives. And it even looked like to a point where Neil Patrick Harris got to it. There was like a scene where Trinity is like, he's like going to shoot Trinity.
He's freezing. He
freezing
became
him.
Adam Sandler in Click.
Yeah, it was, dude. And that effect that they use.
Oh,
that,
the 5 FPS effect. Oh god, it was so terrible.
oh my God.
It was so terrible.
It is so bad. Oh man, that shit was so bad, dude.
It was not good.
So there it is, guys.
Don't you know what? Like, don't if
don't
you're gonna watch it, wait until you don't have to pay money to see it. Like when it hits Netflix or whatever platforms where you already got a subscription anyway, you know, yes, then. But like, don't spend money to see this film. Don't.
You'll regret it.
You're
promise you. You will regret spending your hard-earned money on this shit. Wait till it's on. Watch it on HBO Max. If you've already got a subscription, just watch it there, or not at all. You will not miss a thing. It does nothing for the story except ruin your childhood, and they laugh at why they're doing it.
Man.
You know, it's crazy and sad. That's it.